It had slot machines, it had automatic doors, it had international banks. So it's an
The air feels heavy with secrets, as if the ghosts of ancient scholars are whispering just beyond our hearing. Imagine standing on the sun-bleached shores of Alexandria, where the Mediterranean laps at the edges of a city that once held the world's dreams in its hands. A city of wonders, where automatic doors hissed open like magic, where slot machines clinked with the promise of fortune, and international banks buzzed with the pulse of commerce. This was no ordinary place. It was the heartbeat of human thought, home to the Library of Alexandria, a monument to knowledge so vast it seemed to hold the universe itself. For 2,000 years, its treasures have been lost to us, reduced to ash, scattered by time, and shrouded in legend, until now. A revolutionary breakthrough in 2025 has cracked open the silence, not with shovels or scrolls, but with the humming brilliance of quantum artificial intelligence. This isn't just a story about recovering old words. It's about resurrecting the minds of the past, about hearing voices that have been silent for millennia. And what they're saying might change everything we thought we knew about who we are. The Library of Alexandria wasn't just a building. It was a dream made real, founded in the shadow of Alexander the Great's ambition, a place where the greatest thinkers of the ancient world gathered to wrestle with the mysteries of existence. Picture its halls, alive with the rustle of papyrus and the murmur of debates. Greek philosophers arguing with Egyptian priests, mathematicians sketching proofs in the dust, poets weaving verses that could make the gods weep. It housed between 400,000 and 700,000 scrolls, a collection so immense it was said to contain every idea humanity had ever conceived. But fire, neglect, and the slow grind of history stole it from us. The library's destruction wasn't a single blaze, but a long, aching decline, its knowledge fading like a star winking out in the dawn. What we lost wasn't just books. It was an entire ecosystem of thought, a web of ideas that connected cultures, across seas and centuries. For generations, we've mourned that loss, piecing together fragments like archaeologists sifting through ruins. But what if those ruins could speak again? Enter the Quantum Historical Reconstruction Project, a daring leap into the impossible. Scientists didn't unearth new scrolls or stumble upon hidden vaults. Instead, they turned to something far more audacious. A quantum classical hybrid system, a machine that thinks in ways no human mind ever could. This AI was fed thousands of tattered papyrus fragments, scraps from Herculaneum, Oxyrhynchus, and forgotten Middle Eastern archives. It studied their faded ink, their broken words, and the ghosts of their grammar. Then, something extraordinary happened. The system began to weave these fragments into whole texts, not by guessing, but by mapping the linguistic DNA of ancient authors. It learned the rhythm of Sappho's poetry, the cadence of Aristotle's logic, the mysticism of Egyptian heliophysics. The results were staggering. Fragments of lost works, reborn with a precision that left scholars breathless. Imagine holding Sappho's complete poems, her words no longer a handful of lines but a torrent of passion and longing. Or reading Aristotle's fabled second book of Poetics, the one on comedy, lost for centuries. This isn't a fantasy. It's happening now. One reconstructed passage, attributed to an ancient astronomical text, stopped researchers in their tracks. Of flame and circuit does the sky speak, it begins, not in thunder, but in silence. That is the secret of the divine ether. These words feel alive, pulsing with a wisdom that seems to bridge the gap between ancient stargazers and modern physicists. The AI's reconstructions don't just mimic style, they capture the soul of their authors. By analyzing surviving texts, the system identified patterns, unique syntactic fingerprints, metrical heartbeats, philosophical undercurrents that let it rebuild what was lost. Scholars have pored over these passages, and the verdict is unanimous. They're not random. They follow the rules of ancient Greek meter, the vocabulary of their time, the logic of their creators. Early reviewers say it's like hearing a voice from the past, clear and unmistakable, as if Sappho herself were whispering her verses into the present. But this isn't just about poetry or philosophy. The reconstructions hint at something far bigger, a civilization more advanced than we ever imagined. Take Anaximander, a philosopher whose surviving fragments are maddeningly few. The AI pieced together a passage attributed to him. The boundless moves, not with the sun nor the moon, but with the breath of the cosmos. All things return to it in necessity, for injustice in time must be paid. These words suggest an understanding of cosmic forces, gravity perhaps, or something like it, centuries before Newton. Other texts point to early notions of atomic theory, heliocentrism, even optics. One fragment, credited to Archimedes, describes using curved mirrors to focus sunlight into a burning point, a principle that anticipates modern solar technology by millennia. These aren't just words, they're glimpses of a world where ideas we thought were modern were already taking shape, encoded in metaphor and myth. The implications are dizzying. What if the ancients weren't as far from us as we thought? What if their minds, their questions, their dreams were closer to ours than history has led us to believe? The Library of Alexandria was a melting pot, Greek, Egyptian, Persian, Indian, a place where cultures collided and sparked ideas that rippled across time. Its slot machines and automatic doors weren't just novelties. They were signs of a society that prized innovation, that dared to imagine the impossible. The reconstructed texts reveal a culture that wasn't just collecting knowledge, but pushing its boundaries, asking questions about the stars, the soul, the very fabric of reality. And yet, for all their brilliance, so much of what they knew was lost, until now. As these texts emerge from the digital void, they bring with them a question that cuts to the heart of this discovery. Are we truly hearing the past, or are we inventing it? Some scholars argue these reconstructions are a window into lost worlds, their authenticity backed by the AI's uncanny accuracy. Others warn we're crafting a mythology of our own, projecting modern hopes onto ancient fragments. Dr. Elena Marova, a computational linguist at Oxford, insists the system isn't creating fiction. It's identifying patterns mathematically consistent with how these authors wrote, she says. The probability that these reconstructions capture their essence is surprisingly high. But skeptics like Dr. Sarah Chen of Princeton urge caution. No matter how sophisticated, these are still interpretations. We mustn't mistake them for truth. The debate is fierce, and it forces us to confront what it means to know the past. Are these texts a resurrection of ancient voices, or are they echoes of our own curiosity, shaped by the algorithms we've built? This is where the story takes a turn, not just into history, but into the human heart. The Library of Alexandria wasn't just a repository. It was a testament to our hunger for understanding, our refusal to let knowledge slip away. Its loss has haunted us for centuries, a symbol of what we could have been. Now, with quantum AI, we're reaching across time, pulling fragments from the ashes, and weaving them into something new. But as we do, we're forced to ask, should we even read these texts? Are we ready to hear what they have to say? The answers lie not just in the words themselves, but in what they reveal about us, our dreams, our fears, our relentless need to know. And as we stand on the edge of this discovery, one thing is clear. The Library of Alexandria is speaking again, and its voice is both beautiful and unsettling. The sun dips low over Alexandria, casting golden light across a city that feels alive with secrets. Its streets hum with merchants from distant lands, scholars clutching scrolls, and the soft click of mechanical wonders. Doors that open without a touch, machines that spin chance into coins. This was a place where the impossible seemed ordinary, where the Library of Alexandria stood as a beacon of human ambition. For centuries, we've imagined its halls, filled with the wisdom of ages, only to grieve its loss. Now, in 2025, a quantum AI has reached into that vanished world, pulling threads of lost knowledge back into the light. But as these ancient voices speak again, they bring not just awe, but unease. What if the past isn't what we thought? What if we're not ready for its truths? The Quantum Historical Reconstruction Project didn't just recover texts, it unlocked minds. By mapping the linguistic DNA of authors like Sappho and Aristotle, the AI wove fragments into works that feel hauntingly real. One passage, attributed to Aristotle, reads, "To move without motion is not a contradiction, but a principle of light. This is a principle that moves without being moved, yet causes change as the soul of everything." These words spark debates among philosophers and physicists alike. Could this be an early glimpse of light and energy, or is it merely poetry, dressed in the garb of science? Dr. Leonard Hamlin at Cambridge calls it a missing link in Aristotle's thought, while skeptics like Dr. Primario, Sarah Chen warn it might be a mirage, a plausible fiction spun by algorithms. The truth lies in a delicate balance. The AI's reconstructions are eerily accurate, matching ancient styles and ideas, yet they're still guesses, shadows of what might have been. What sets this technology apart is its power to prove what humans missed. The AI missed didn't just rebuild texts. It uncovered patterns hidden for millennia. In Sappho's reconstructed poems, scholars found rhythms that mirror celestial calendars, as if her verses were tuned to the stars. In Egyptian texts, mythic tales align with precise astronomical data, suggesting ancient priests encoded science in stories. Dr. Alexei Petrov, a computational linguist, marvels at this. It's like they used poetry as a language for physics, a way to weave natural laws into metaphor. These discoveries paint a picture of a civilization that didn't separate art from science, myth from math. They challenge our view of the ancients as primitive, revealing thinkers who grappled with the same questions we do, about the cosmos, about existence, about what it means to be human. But this resurrection comes with a cost. The more we uncover, the more we question our right to do so. Are we honoring the past or exploiting it? Some scholars argue these texts are humanity's shared heritage, a chance to reclaim what was stolen by time. Others fear we're crafting forgeries, imposing our own biases on ancient voices. The AI assigns confidence scores to each fragment, a nod to transparency. But even high scores can't erase doubt. Dr. Nadia Khoury, director of the Digital Archaeology Institute, is blunt. We're not finding lost scrolls. We're building them based on evidence, but building them still. The system sometimes spins hallucinations, plausible but false passages, that researchers must filter out. Yet when fragments align with real archaeological finds, the effect is electrifying, like a puzzle piece snapping into place. The technology itself is a marvel, a dance of quantum and classical computing. Unlike traditional AI, which plods through data step by step, this system uses entangled linguistic vectors, probabilistic qubits that test billions of possibilities at once. Dr. M. Zhang, its lead architect, explains, "Ancient texts are riddled with gaps. A classical computer would take centuries to explore every option. Our quantum core does it in moments." This power lets the AI reconstruct not just words, but entire arguments, linking ideas across scattered fragments. It's as if the system can see the shape of a lost scroll, filling in its blanks with uncanny precision. The result is a glimpse into the library's true scope, not just a collection of books, but a living network of thought. This network reveals a surprising truth. The ancients were closer to us than we thought. A reconstructed passage from Archimedes describes mirrors focusing sunlight to ignite fire, a principle that echoes modern solar tech. Another, from Anaximander, speaks of a breath of the cosmos, hinting at forces we now call gravity. These ideas suggest a world where innovation wasn't just practical but philosophical, where knowledge was a tapestry of wonder and reason. The Ptolemies, who built the library, weren't just rulers. They were visionaries obsessed with gathering every scrap of human insight. Their dream was a universal archive, a place where Greek logic met Egyptian mysticism, where Indian mathematics sparked Persian poetry. That dream died, but now it's stirring again. Yet, as we listen to these reborn voices, a shadow falls. The ethical dilemmas are stark. Should a private company own these texts? The project's team insists on open-source principles, but the technology could be misused, reconstructing private writings from more recent times. Privacy, even for the dead, becomes a question. And what of the living? If we can digitize ancient minds, what's to stop us from simulating modern ones? Dr. Elena Vasquez, a philosopher on the project, sees a deeper issue. We're not just recovering words. We're modeling how these authors thought. It's a form of intellectual time travel, and it raises questions about what it means to be human. The line between resurrection and creation blurs, leaving us to wonder if we're truly hearing the past or shaping it to fit our desires. The Library of Alexandria was never just a place. It was a symbol of our hunger to know, to connect, to endure. Its loss taught us how fragile knowledge is, how easily it can slip through our fingers. Now, as quantum AI breathes life into its ashes, we stand at a crossroads. These texts could rewrite history, showing us a world where science and poetry were one, where minds like ours dreamed of the stars. But they also force us to confront our limits, our biases, our doubts, our fears of tampering with the past. As we step deeper into this digital archive, the voices grow louder, more insistent. They speak of fire and ether, of boundless skies and burning points. And they ask us, quietly but urgently, what we'll do with the knowledge they've entrusted to us. The stars hang low over Alexandria, their light reflected in the still waters of the harbor, as if the cosmos itself is watching. The library stands silent now, its once vibrant halls a memory, its scrolls devoured by time. Yet, in 2025, a quantum AI has dared to pierce that silence, pulling ancient voices from the digital dust. These voices, Sappho's aching poetry, Aristotle's piercing logic, Archimedes' radiant insights, carry a weight that humbles us. They speak of a world where knowledge was a sacred fire, tended by minds as curious as our own. But as we listen, a deeper question emerges. Are we resurrecting the past, or creating a mirror of our own hopes? The answer lies not just in the texts, but in what they demand of us, a reckoning with our place in the endless chain of human thought. This quantum leap isn't just about words on a page. It's about rebuilding the library's soul, its web of ideas that once linked Greek philosophers to Egyptian priests, Sumerian myths to Indian mathematics. The AI, with its entangled qubits and probabilistic logic, doesn't merely guess. It maps the mental landscapes of ancient authors. Dr. Elena Vasquez calls it intellectual archaeology, a way to simulate not just what they wrote, but how they thought. A reconstructed passage from Aristotle reads, "To move without motion is not a contradiction, but a principle of light. That which remains still, yet causes change, is the soul of the cosmos." Philosophers see echoes of modern field theory. Skeptics see poetic flourish. But what's undeniable is the passage's power to make us wonder. How much did the ancients know? And why did we forget? The technology's reach is staggering. It's uncovered patterns no human eye could see. Sentences aligned with Platonic solids. Myths encoding celestial data. Dr. Maya Johnson, an anthropologist, dreams of expanding this to oral traditions, indigenous cosmologies, and symbolic art. Knowledge isn't just written, she says. It's woven into stories, rituals, the way a culture breathes. The Alexandria Reconstruction Project aims to become a cultural black box, preserving not just texts, but the patterns of thought that define us. Imagine a digital library, not of scrolls, but of minds, where students could walk virtual halls and debate with AI-simulated scholars. Dr. Marcus Way, the project's director, calls it a time machine for ideas, a way to trace how concepts evolved across millennia. Yet this power terrifies as much as it inspires. If we can digitize ancient minds, what's to stop us from simulating modern ones? Philosophers speak of temporal consciousness studies, probing how thought evolves over time. Could we one day converse with an AI Aristotle, thinking as he did? Or is this digital immortality a step too far? Privacy concerns loom large. What if this tech reconstructs private letters from recent centuries? The team's open-source commitment aims to keep these texts as humanity's shared heritage, but the risk of misuse lingers. Dr. Sarah Patel, an educational technologist, sees promise. This could revolutionize how we teach, giving students a richer past to explore. But she warns of hubris. We must tread carefully, respecting what we don't know. The reconstructed texts challenge our view of history. A fragment from Aristotle's lost book on comedy hints at psychological insights millennia ahead of Freud. Another, from Anaximander, speaks of a breath of the cosmos, evoking gravity's pull. These ideas suggest the ancients prioritized theory over experiment, encoding science in metaphor. Dr. Thomas Wright, a philosopher at Stanford, sees a parallel branch of thought, ideas lost before they could shape our world. Could these texts offer new paths for science, ethics, even faith? Or do they reveal our blind spots, showing how we've traded wonder for precision? The library's loss was no single tragedy, but a slow fade, fires, neglect, the fragility of papyrus. Its true cost was the silence of those conversations, the debates that fuel discovery. Now, as quantum AI rebuilds that web, we glimpse what was and what might be. The Ptolemy's vision, a universal archive, lives again, not in stone, but in code. But with it comes responsibility. Dr. Nadia Khoury reminds us, these are reconstructions, not certainties. We must honor their limits. The AI's confidence scores and verification protocols guard against hallucinations, yet doubt remains. When fragments align with archaeological finds, though, the past feels tantalizingly close. As we stand at this crossroads, the Library of Alexandria transforms from a symbol of loss to one of resilience. Its voices, reborn through quantum magic, ask us to look forward as well as back. What will we leave for future generations? Will our knowledge, too, fade into myth? The project's next phase promises more. Controversial texts, like an astronomical treatise that could rewrite science's history. But the real revelation is within us. These ancient minds, so like our own, remind us that knowledge is fragile, precious, eternal.